So my name is Rafiullah, and I'm here with my colleague Alya Al Ali from Expo 2020 Dubai School Programme team. And today we'll be talking to you a little bit more about the different experiences that Expo has to offer to the school community, whether it's within the UAE as well as internationally, and we'll take you through some of the experiences that we have for students as well. Now, before we get started, very quickly, I just want to tell you a little bit about what a World Expo is. And World Expos are mega events. They're these giant events that take place every couple of years, so every 5 years. They take place in a different country around the world. And what they do is they bring countries together to showcase ideas, to showcase their innovations and their progress over the years. Now, the very first World Expo started in London at the Crystal Palace back in 1851, almost 160 years ago, and that's really where the story of World Expos began. Over the years, we've had several different expos. So, for example, the one in Chicago was where the Ferris wheel was first showcased. The one in Paris was where the Eiffel Tower was solely built as the entrance to the World Expo. Alexander Graham Bell spoke into his telephone at an expo in New York. And those are really the sorts of things that are used by us in our daily lives that were actually first showcased at a World Expo. Now, Expo is something we like to call a festival of imagination and innovation. It's a meeting point for individuals from all over the world, a vehicle that helps nations build and progress over the years. And more than anything, it's a platform for countries to come together for knowledge exchange, for cultural and economic exchange as well. Now, I'll show you a very quick video about where Bill Gates is talking about his experience with the World Expo.
When I was a child, I got to go to the World Expo in 1962 in my hometown, Seattle. There was a lot of great technology there. It really was very inspirational. Expos, going back in history, let people see new innovations, let them think about how's that going to change life, get people excited, get them to participate in different approaches. And so it brings people together, it gets us dreaming, and so it's a great institution. UAE has taken its success and been willing to invest in new learning, new innovation. It's great to see that kind of long-term approach is part of how they're taking their success and becoming a hub of people from different regions. A lot of gathering is done here because they're a place that's looking forward, a place everybody's willing to come and work together. You know, the digital world is magical, but I don't think it's going to replace meetings or expos any time during my lifetime. Dubai, as part of the UAE, has modernized itself, taken on tough projects, brought people together in a number of amazing ways, and I think they would be a great location for a World Expo.
Now, just like the experience that Bill Gates had with the World Expo, and just like the impact that that's had on him, we want to make sure that this World Expo, which is taking place for the very first time in all of Middle East, Africa, and South Asia regions, we want to make sure that the school community makes the best out of it. That the memories that the students take back with them 10, 20, 30 years down the line are ones that have changed either their career paths, they've broadened horizons for these students, and hence we've got the school program at Expo 2020 Dubai. Now, a lot of you might already be aware, the Expo is a 6-month event, which is going to take place in almost a year from now, starting from the 20th of October 2020 till the 10th of April 2021. Now, this is the first time that a World Expo takes place during the winter months, for obvious reasons. That's a lot of our nicer weather here. This is also the first time that it takes place during the academic year, so schools can really make the most out of it through field trips to the Expo site. Now, every World Expo has a theme, and Expo 2020's theme is Connecting Minds, Creating the Future. So it's harnessing the power of collaboration to solve challenges and to work together with people from all across the world. Within this theme, we have 3 sub-themes of opportunity, mobility, and sustainability, and I'll touch upon those a little bit later in the presentation. The themes and the sub-theme of Expo 2020 are the inspiration behind the master plan or the map of Expo 2020 Dubai that you might have seen in several places. So you'll see over here in the picture, there are 3 petal-like areas. And each area is dedicated to a particular theme. So when we have the mobility district, what that really means is any countries, individuals, children that are showcasing their innovations within the realm of mobility will be located within or on the boundaries of the mobility district. The same goes for the opportunity district as well as the sustainability district. All 3 of these districts join in a central area, so this dome-like structure, which is called Al Plaza. Al in Arabic means connection, so it is really staying true to the theme of Expo 2020 Dubai and being an area whereby people come together to celebrate. We've also got a metro station on the site, which is called the Route 2020 metro station, that's going to be bringing in a lot of the visitors from all over UAE. We also have those buildings in the back, which is called the Expo Village, where a lot of the exhibitors will be staying. We also have a shopping mall, because, you know, it's Dubai. But it's also part of our legacy plans for this entire site. So everything that you see over here after the 6 months then transforms into a city of its own. A place called District 2020, where we will have retail, we have commercial spaces, residential spaces, and an entire community of its own, and hence the mall. And we have several different iconic pavilions across the site, and I'll show you close-ups of those in a bit. But we have the UAE pavilion that you see where the flag has just popped up as one of the key pavilions. So here's a close-up of the Sustainability Pavilion at Expo 2020, and I'll show you a glimpse of what that experience looks like. We also have the giant fidget spinner, or the Mobility Pavilion. We've got the UAE Pavilion, which is quite literally shaped like the wings of the falcon to embody UAE's culture and heritage. And then we've got the Al Plaza. So this is the central part of Expo 2020. It's a 360-degree giant digital dome. A lot of the entertainment events will be taking place here. Students will be able to perform at the heart of Expo 2020 within the Al Plaza. And it will continue to remain even after the 6 months, just like a lot of different components at the site.
Okay, so we've built those amazing, beautiful designs and fascinating buildings, fascinating architecture. We've also been working very hard on making sure that the content that's exhibited within those buildings is also meaningful, it's relevant, and it's bringing something new to our society. That includes families, business people, and most importantly, school groups. So we've been working very hard on making sure that both from a content and from a design and architectural perspective, that this World Expo is extraordinary. And so it only makes sense for us to make sure that the school community is able to really make the best out of this World Expo. This is a direct direction and guidance from our leadership who feel very passionately about making sure that school students are part of Expo 2020 Dubai, that they are really able to make the most out of it, that they're able to visit the Expo, and that they're able to really get inspired by it. Similar to how when Bill Gates went to the Expo in Seattle and he was really inspired by everything that he saw, that even years later down the line, he still remembers it as something that has impacted his life. And that's really the impact that we would like to leave with our school students here in the UAE. And so as Expo 2020 Dubai, Expo School Programme was established. We have 2 main objectives, and we're specifically dedicated to engaging with schools here in the UAE. And that's our sole mandate. There are 2 things that we do. One is we make sure that schools are involved in the journey towards 2020. We make sure that we develop programs and outreach initiatives to make sure that schools feel that they have ownership over this World Expo, that they're part of it, that they're involved in the process of preparing for this World Expo. Our second objective is also making sure that we develop memorable and inspiring learning experiences during Expo 2020. So we work with various departments within the Expo and various entities to make sure that coming to the Expo is as seamless, as exciting, and as fun as possible. So as part of the first objective, which is making sure that schools are involved, we've launched several initiatives. Some of them are for students, and some of them are for educators and teachers as well. So for students, we have the Expo 2020 Visitor Center, which receives about 120 students every single day. We also have the Next Generation World MESLC, where students come together and talk and discuss important matters with key experts. We also have the Expo Champions Program, whereby we are empowering students to really take on the Expo message within their schools and become champions of this World Expo. And also a very exciting program, which is the Expo Young Innovators. The Expo Young Innovators is a program that basically provides an opportunity to school students to develop an innovation and get a chance or an opportunity to actually showcase it at Expo 2020 Dubai. And usually this doesn't happen at World Expos. You'd see innovations from corporates, from countries, from the big companies, but rarely would you see, in fact, never has it happened, that you would see innovations at the site that were made by students. And that's something that we would like to have at our Expo, inshallah. Now, in addition to those initiatives that we have for students, we also have initiatives specifically that were designed for educators and teachers. We have educator workshops. We have learning resources that are downloadable from our website that are targeted to different subjects and to different age groups as well. And the School Leaders Forum. Now, there are some key dates as well. So, for example, for the Next Gen World MESLC, the upcoming one is happening on the 13th of November. For Expo Young Innovators, the deadline is on the 16th of November. And for School Leaders Forum, the upcoming one is on the 4th and 5th of November. And we'd love to invite you to our next School Leaders Forum. Now, you can find all of this information on our website, which is schools.expo2020dubai.com. It's a website that we've designed specifically for the school community.
I also want to mention that we do have a table outside, so we're giving you a bit of an information load today, but we have all of this written down in booklet formats, and you can pick it up right from our table outside. Now, moving into the second part of what we do, which is creating memorable, fun, educational experiences for the school community that is closely linked to things that are already part of the curricula. The last thing that we want to do is create an experience that's unrelated to what the students are already studying. And the vision for these journeys and experiences is for the classroom to literally come to life, for this to be an extension of their everyday learning. To this end, we've created 4 different journeys for the UAE school community to try and give them an opportunity to experience as much of the Expo as possible. One of the things that we do keep in mind is that this Expo is happening for the first time in the region. To be very honest, we don't know when the next time it's going to happen in the region, let alone in the UAE. And it's only here for 6 months. So we want to make sure that students make the most out of it. The 4 journeys that we have are the Universe in Motion journey. We have the World of Opportunities journey, linked closely to our sub-theme of opportunity. We have the Sustainable Planet journey, and finally we have the Legacy of the UAE journey. And as I've mentioned, these are closely linked to the curricula. So for example, the Legacy of the UAE journey, it's something that's closely linked to the new social studies curricula. So that's something where schools can come on a field trip to Expo and experience their curricula in a more immersive and experiential way. Every single one of these have been designed for school groups and come with specific learning outcomes and objectives. Again, all of this information is provided in our brochures and booklets, which you can collect. So the World of Opportunities journey, this one's touching upon our impact as individuals. So we're looking at the small steps that we take to have an impact on the larger community, on the world. We've also got the Universe in Motion journey. So here we're primarily looking at the movement of people, ideas, and goods over time. We're looking at the progress that humanity has made way back from when we took the first step to now when we're using drones and the hyperloops. We've also got, the Legacy of the UAE journey, where we're looking at the impact that the UAE has on the world and how we've worked with people from around the world to develop and to progress and to get to where we are today. And finally, we've got the Sustainable Planet journey, which focuses on living in balance. Now, every single one of these journeys have immersive experiences that the students go through. And regardless of whether they're UAE students, whether they're international students, or visitors from the community, our experiences are designed to be immersive in nature. So I'd just like to give you a glimpse into what the Sustainable Planet journey would entail. So Terra is the name of the sustainability planet, and it's Latin for Earth. And what you'll notice is there are two journeys that visitors can choose to go through. So there's either a journey under the forest or a journey under the ocean. And it's a real theatrical look at how we're impacting our planet. And it's not all dark and gloomy, but what the vision for this journey is that when the students or the visitors leave the pavilion, they're already starting to think about how they can help improve the planet, how they can make a positive difference in the world. We've also got 190 countries that are coming to the Expo. So you get to see sustainability through the eyes of a country that perhaps you've never even heard the name of before. So these are just some of the countries that have recently revealed their designs, and we have several more that are coming up. We have an entire team at Expo 2020 that's called the International Participants Team. And they work closely with these countries to ensure that their content is relevant and engaging for the visitors. So we do have storytellers on the team, and we work closely with the countries to curate some of their content and their stories as well. So those are the 4 key journeys, and every single journey is tailored to different age groups in terms of its content as well as in terms of the duration of the journey. So for example, for kindergarten students, they're only at site for around 2.5 hours from the moment they leave their buses to the moments they get back on. Whereas for high school students, that goes up to around 4 hours. We are also offering a guide for every single group that arrives to the site. We're also offering complimentary tickets for accompanying adults for various different ratios. So for kindergarten, it's 1 accompanying adult for every 5 students. For primary school, it's 1 to 10. And for middle and high school, that's 1 to 15. In terms of the operations, we work closely with different departments at the Expo site to make sure that when the students arrive to the Expo, their journey is seamless. They're not waiting in long queues for restrooms or for any of the key pavilions. They're able to get in and out and get the most out of their experience on the day. So there are 3 main entrances where school groups will arrive. We do have a booking system that's launching soon, so we will have all the information of the school groups prior to when they arrive at the Expo site. A guide will be waiting for them, anticipating their visit on the day. They're going to get onto the buses, help students put on their wristbands, get them excited, get them briefed for the day. This guide is going to be with them throughout the journey that they've selected for the day. There are several washrooms and rest spaces all across the site, as well as dedicated eating areas for the younger students. Now, the ticket to Expo 2020 includes a lot of those things that I've already mentioned. It includes express passes for some of the key pavilions. What's happened in the past World Expos, and we're trying to tackle this from a general visitor perspective anyway, is that queues have been quite long, and so for a pavilion that became popular, you could end up waiting hours to get into that pavilion. So we're ensuring that we block off capacity for school groups, that they bypass all public queues and get into the pavilions. All of this for the UAE school groups comes at a cost of 50 dirhams per student per journey. And this is the most subsidized ticket at the entire Expo for any visitor group. Our booking system is going to be launching in November 2019, so just next month. We will be taking bookings on a first-come, first-served basis, so please look out for that announcement when it goes out. And finally, please do connect with us. We've got my email address up there. We've got the Expo 2020 School Program website, whereby you can get all the information that you need regarding our initiatives. We have an entire team dedicated to engaging with the international school community. We have similar journeys for international students that are, again, linked to curricula and subject areas. And so if you drop me an email, I'd be more than happy to make those connections for any schools that are here from outside of UAE. One last thing that I just want to mention before I finish off. I know that there's a lot of schools attending today from Abu Dhabi and Al Ain areas, so we have been working closely with ADEC, And recently, a circular has gone out to the schools in Abu Dhabi, allowing them to visit the Expo 2020 site. So that's an exception specifically made for Expo 2020, because this is a national event. We do want to make sure we're inclusive to all the Emirates, and we've been really lucky at that front, where ADEC has recently sent out a circular that schools within the Abu Dhabi region can visit the Expo 2020 Visitor Center, which is currently open, as well as come on field trips to the Expo site. So that's for students that are younger than the ages of 12 and 10 as well. Okay, and I'd just like to finish off with a quick video. Thank you so much for listening to us. We'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy to share this presentation with you. I'll also share a copy with Lisa if anyone wants to reach out to myself or her. You can definitely have a copy of this. Thank you.